Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the October 13th meeting. I'd like to call to order. If everyone could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, does anyone have any board committee reports? Cheryl, sorry, blind spot.
Just wanted to report that the Community Relations Committee met for the first time last Tuesday evening. We have 4 more meetings scheduled for the school year. We've expanded to some at-large community members, so we've gotten a little larger. And it was a great meeting, a great discussion about community issues such as celebrating Halloween with the children and ways that the schools can collaborate more on plans for some of those kinds of celebrations that will necessarily look different this year. So any questions or interest in the Community Relations Committee, I invite any community members to email me. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. Any other board members? Okay, so I'm going to ask Dr. Glass to do a superintendent's report.
Thank you. And I've got 4 things I want to cover tonight. The first of which is a real honor. We have 4 young men joining us today who did something very heroic. I'm sure you've all read the article about the happenings in the Stone era while these 4 young men were jet skiing and having witnessed a seaplane in distress crashing, I guess you would say crashing into the shore area. They jumped into action and they rushed to the plane, hopped fences, did whatever they had to do to get to those survivors, pulled to them in front of the plane and ensured that they were and stayed with them until help could arrive. What they did was incredibly heroic. And I'd like to introduce these 2 students and 2 alumni to you and ask, gentlemen, when I call your name, if you come down. These are some very odd COVID rules we're observing here, but if you would, when I call your name, if you would come down, see the plaque that we got at the table for you there, and then I'm just going to come and ask you a few questions and talk with you a little bit. So Angelo Ferradino and Mark Tamburo, if you our alumni, Robert Balcetis and Michael Kupo. I don't know if microphones will pick this up. We're so incredibly proud of what you did.
So the first thing we noticed was, I've never seen a plane land in there. Apparently it's pretty common. But so the first thing I saw was a plane coming in for a landing. It was a seaplane. So I had to fall over to him. I was like, oh, look at the plane. And then we noticed it was going way too fast. Came across the water, and that's when it did. That's interesting.
Wow. Jump right into action. Thoughts, other questions?
Well, I just wanted to thank you and also commend you and ask, you know, the first way I heard about the event was through Twitter. It was tweeted out by one of the athletic organizations. So I'm guessing you're athletes in Eastchester. And I just wanted to hear if any of your kind of athletic training or your experience on teams kind of helped inspire your action, do you think?
Our coach is really important stuff.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of the interviews that I know me and him did and the news and like talking, that was like the biggest point for us was really talking about like our foundations growing up, our amazing coaches, our amazing like teachers, our amazing parents and loved ones and like all of these guys are like brothers. We're all like brothers and their parents. And that was like, it's just like a big collaboration of all those aspects that just grew us up to be who we are, good, bad, or indifferent. That's really that's the main point of what made us do just what, in my opinion, and what we all said, what every person should do in that situation. It's not heroic, it's just saving people or helping somebody who just needs help. That's all it is.
I played sports here as well. I played basketball and volleyball, and it's kind of I don't know how to explain it, but in this situation, we did work as a team. It wasn't just like an individual effort. Like I know it's hard to explain, but we did everything together.
Wow. Other board members have any questions or comments?
I just did, so, thank you guys so much. I've known, if not some of you, all of you, since you've probably been 5 years old. So it's so wonderful to see, you've grown up and doing this. So proud. How often do you guys like jet ski over there? Is this like, I know you probably would have been playing football and you guys might have been watching the games
Oh, yeah.
if it was a traditional year, but like, do you often jet ski there? And
So a lot, like he started like 3 years ago. He
Oh.
really started it, and I would just occasionally like ride his while he rode his uncle's, and then me, Mark, and Rob all got ours this year. But we put like a lot of hours on them. We rode there like a lot, so it's not like we're trying out a new like riding area or anything like that. But if it was football season, I would have like practice or a game. So kind of just like we just keep it busy and doing like as many athletic hobbies and activities as we can. So it's just something that we found like is fun and benefits.
yeah, well,
That also adds to I guess it's confusion because we go there all the time and we've never seen a plane landing there. So the second we saw a plane, we immediately thought like, what's going on?
Wow. Wow. Well, you really have exemplified, great character and great citizenship and everything that we would hope to have instilled in you as a school system. You got to put it into practice that day, but we also know it came from all those around you, your families, and all those around you. So we're just really, really proud of you. We wanted to take a minute to show that. And, you demonstrated what it means to be Eagle Strong when you did that. And we're just very, very, very proud of you. And we wish you all the best. So thank you.
Thank you.
And another congratulatory celebration here. And that is for education. Now, next week is the week that in the state of New York, we recognize school boards. If we don't have a board meeting next week, we're going to go ahead and do that a little early today. I just want to read a proclamation from our governor that is issued. And I think as you listen to the whereas in this proclamation, you'll get some sense of what school board members do, what our school board members do, what makes this such a noble work. Whereas each year, School Board Recognition Week is observed by more than 700 school boards in school districts throughout the entire state. And whereas our state's public education system is designed to meet the educational needs of all children and to empower them to become competent, productive contributors to society in an ever-changing world. And whereas school boards are currently facing the unprecedented challenges of a pandemic, working closely with educators to prepare our children to learn. Whereas members of local school boards are dedicated to children learning in community and devote many hours of service to elementary and secondary public education as they continually strive for improvement, excellence, and progress in education. recognizing that all children can be successful learners, especially when education is tailored to the individual needs of the child. Local school board members are strong advocates for public education and are responsible for communicating the needs of the school district to the public and the public's expectations to the district by working closely with parents, educational professionals, and other community members. And whereas the members of New York State local school boards respond to the educational needs of the community they serve and help ensure the solid foundation of our school system. So these leaders help strengthen our state's educational system and improve future prospects for our children. And whereas during October 19th to 23rd, 2020, special activities and programs will be held in communities across New York State in observance of School Board Recognition Week. And this city join in acknowledging the commitment and contributions of members of local school boards. Now, therefore, I, Andrew M. Cuomo, Governor of the State of New York, do hereby proclaim October 19 through 23rd, 2020 as School Board Recognition Week. I can honestly say from firsthand observation that our school board is just all of this and more. You serve this community with integrity, you serve it with joy, and you are very much in tune, in my opinion, with the community and with the needs of the school system. You are that voice, that bridge, that guidance for the administration, setting the policy and direction that we need in order to be effective and serve the taxpayers of this community. I want to take a moment and thank you personally for since I've been here a little over a year, and all of you've done to this community for many, many years as you serve these roles. And I'd like to offer my thanks and congratulations to you. So enjoy that, because as members of the community know, there's no pay that goes with these positions. It's all right along. You get a certificate, you get a thank you, but really, truly, I mean, you do it because you care and you invest. That's what it's all about. And really, all the time and effort you spend, we really appreciate it. And I know many in this community do. This entire community does. Two other quick things as we move on from that. I want to just mention that I put a message out to the community Friday night, just to remind everybody to please wear, observe masks and distancing in public, and to remind you that we've got some reinforcing restrictions on this turf field here behind the high school, middle school campus. We ask with the sports season and with all the activity that goes with it, that everybody be careful to observe everything that is opposed to rules and regulations, and that we will be enforcing those. And fourth thing, and last thing is I want to acknowledge, we've heard from a lot of families, especially in the last week or so, about the desire to put kids back in school more. And I have to tell you, my team and I, we would agree. We would love to have students back in school more. It is very difficult, particularly for our young children. Our teachers will tell you, our parents will tell you, and we will tell you as an administration, we would love to have our students in more. We hear the frustration, and we will certainly continue to work and do everything we can to continue examining what might be able to be adjusted as we go along. We landed at this hybrid situation through a thoughtful deliberation. I want to bring everybody back to a little bit of context. We spent months and months with a task force and a very deep process trying to understand how we can move forward in the relationship that we are bound by. This is the plan that we came up with. We recognize that it is an imperfect plan. So we'll always continue to keep an open mind. We will continue the dialogue with surveys and so forth. One of the things that's happening in the world right now, and I'm in constant contact with colleagues from around the district, is that all school districts are being prepared for one another in terms of who's doing what and what models they have. The model we have is predicated on the conditions we have locally. We have a certain size of amount of square footage available for classrooms. We have a certain amount of budget allocated for staffing, and we have a certain amount of transportation and busing available. Some communities don't have busing, right? So depending on a district's unique situation with All of those factors, staffing and budget and transportation, those are 4 big factors that will drive what you're able to do. So taking our community's preferences into account, we developed the current system we have. Are there tweaks we could make to it? Yes, but I will just say that everything has to be examined in terms of the cost benefit analysis, right? If you make a change to try to improve one thing, it will change other things. And those other things may be less desirable than what we currently face. So I don't want people to think or believe that this is it for the rest of the year. I'm going to be this for the rest of the year, and there's no changing it. I'm not digging in my heels. But I'm telling you, we're a month in, going into the 5th week. We now kind of understand what this model is about. We'll continue to seek feedback from the community through our PTA, through other committees that we've set up, and we can also re-engage our task force. We can look at the data, we can do some surveying, we can get in touch with the more recent data points, how people are feeling, and we can move forward with that data and see if there's any way that we can marginally or incrementally improve what we do. But one thing I want to mention, particularly around health guidelines. The health guidelines that we were given, that is how they accepted it. That is what we are following. You will find some districts who, if you're using plexiglass, or actually it's polycarbonate that you can use, and putting more students, they increase the density in their classrooms, using some of these things. But, as we reached out, we're noticing some of these districts were doing this. We are seeking renewed guidance from Westchester County Department of Health, and what we're hearing is the interpretation we have is probably the correct interpretation. It would be the exception to try to, when you put people in a situation for some specific reasons where you won't get the 6-foot density, you need the masks and the 6 feet. That's what they're asking for. So other districts have taken some different positions, and that is their right to make those interpretations. I'm not judging it. I'm just saying that's their decision to make. The input that we have gotten from the Department of Health has continued to be that that what we're doing now with the reduced density at 6 feet and masks, that's what they're asking for. Different guidance, and we will continue pushing on that guidance. We will certainly act on it. But right now, we are not getting confirmation of anything different. In fact, we're getting confirmation that we're looking at it in the commonly accepted way we're looking at it. But again, we'll continue to ask those questions. ECS is not the only ones asking those questions. These questions are being asked by all the superintendents in the region. And because we're aware that people are looking at what others are doing and asking, well, why is this one doing this, and why is this one have a different density? So whether it's Wednesdays differently, whether it's looking at different ways to get more elementary students in, those are all things that theoretically can be done, but just realize it's a balancing act and it's a trade. As we look at them, we'll give you the pros and cons of different possibilities. But right now, you're also seeing a spike in Westchester County cases, and it is significant. In fact, George Latimer, the county executive, yesterday on his Facebook page expressed some serious concern about the rate of infection and how it's spiking, and they're trying to dig into it and learn what the root cause and how they can reduce it. So, at the same time, we feel people's acute need to get students in school more, and we agree. We have to do it thoughtfully and carefully, as we have to look at things thoughtfully and carefully to see if adjustments can be made, with the knowledge that if we go too fast, do something that increases transmission, we're going to wish we hadn't, and we need to be very, very careful about that. So that's all I'll say at this point. I want to thank those who engaged with the district, who let us know of their preferences and their concerns. And we certainly hear you, and we will certainly continue to look at what the status, always look at and see if we can make adjustments or improvements. But at the moment, we need some more data, and we need to take an incremental approach with a little more data. So thank you very much, and I appreciate the opportunity to give my report this evening.
Thank you, Rob, and thank you for the recognition and the certificates of appreciation They are greatly appreciated. At this time, I'm going to ask Steve to move agenda items 4 through 8.
Sure. So I move the approval of the minutes for September 29th, 2020 Board of Education meeting. I move, be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approves the personnel agenda as attached. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby approves the placements as recommended by the Committee on Preschool Education and the Committee on Special Education. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby accepts the report of the independent auditor, R.S. Abrams and Co. LLP, for the financial statements and supplementary information, the report on extra classroom activities fund, the governance letter and the management letter and related corrective action plan for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2020. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby approves the following donation, $25 donation from Brian Kay for the Carissa Kumpen Scholarship. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby approves the Treasurer's Report for July of 2020. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby approves the Treasurer's Report for August of 2020. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approves the budget transfers of $10,000 or more for the month of August 2020. And be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby approves the extension for the out-of-district home-to-school contract for the 2020 to 2021 school year at the NYSED approved CPI of 1.4%. And be it resolved that the Board of Education, per the recommendation of the administration, hereby approves policy 8635, information and data privacy, security, breach, and notification.
Okay. Kara, would you like to second it?
I second.
Discussion?
I'm loud enough usually, but on the rates for the substitutes, and I just happen to notice that I know we raised it not long ago, but the substitute rate and the teaching assistant rate, in my opinion, are very close. And that's my first question. Should we consider, raising that substitute rate to create a little separation from the teaching assistant rate? That's just something I'm throwing out there. But secondly, and this is for Rob, after we approve this, could you tell us how you're doing with getting substitutes this year? Because we know people are, calling in sick and all that stuff. So you could just tell us a little bit after that we vote on it, okay? But, you don't have to answer the question today on the rates, but it's just, I'm saying it's something we might want to look at, especially if I hear we're having trouble getting subs. So that's all.
Yeah, go ahead, Jen.
Question about subs, it's worse than ever, absolutely.
Unmute
Kim
yourself.
had done a ton of recruitment to get subs.
Unmute, please.
I'm sorry, here we go. Kim in my office did a tremendous job recruiting for substitutes, and unfortunately, as we got closer to the start of the school year, they were fearful and rescinded and said they wanted to put their application on hold. We had many individuals that did that. We have some of our subs that did return. Some of them were also, they left us because they got jobs elsewhere, because the market is theirs at this point. So it's probably the worst year yet for subs, and it has really little to do with compensation. I'm sure if we offered more money, we might attract some more, but a big piece of it is fear and losing them to other jobs.
Well, in light of that answer, I just want to throw out the possibility that currently, right now, our sub rate pays less than unemployment. If somebody doesn't have a job, they could sit home and collect money rather than come to substitute in Eastchester for 5 days. Maybe we should consider a premium during this time of COVID while unemployment is higher than normal, maybe to attract some people. I'm just throwing that out, so.
Yeah, thank you. We, yeah. I don't know that what we talked about was temporary, but generally the conversation that we've had has been, what's the market? And would raising those rates likely attract more folks? So the conversation where, at the time we had the discussion, we were sure that it would have that effect, but I think it's always, until you actually make a change like that, you really don't know. You're speculating, right? So I think, it's something we can continue to discuss. I appreciate you bringing it up.
Question for Lisa. Hey, Lisa, I was just wondering on the budget transfers, that $100,000, was that like bulk of it for this year or tip of the iceberg?
Yeah, that's the tip of the iceberg. Yeah, I think you already approved one in July for a $100,000 transfer. And there may have been one in September, that's already, but we're well through the $400,000 that we've already, that we had set aside for COVID-related expenses. And it's not all necessarily in a couple of specific codes, but it is in additional staffing, it's in additional cleaning supplies and things that, we would normally put through a supplier maintenance code. Ed's just ordering more of, so it's not necessarily that you can see it in a specific code, because it's kind of hard to separate some of them, although I have been tracking some of that, but it's sprinkled all throughout the budget, the $400,000, but yeah, that is the tip of the iceberg.
My unmuting skills are not as good. Does anyone else have any discussion? Okay, so before I forget, can I get a motion? To vote, that's the words I want, all in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, our future meeting dates are October 27th, November 10th, and November 24th. Do we have any comments from the public? You can raise your hand or throw something in the chat and we can going once, going twice. Sold to. Any comments from the Board of Education? Anyone have anything? Go ahead, Vito.
Just going back to our last meeting, and I know you mentioned earlier about the field and everything. My question is, have we investigated or looked into anything that we can do as repercussions to people who take bicycles onto the field? Can we give them a warning? Can we suspend them? Can we confiscate their bicycles? If someone spray painted the side of our building and we caught them doing it, there would be repercussions because they're damaging our property and our facility. Riding a bicycle on our field is damaging our property and facility and should have the same repercussions as spray painting on our building. And I just want to know if the administration is considering anything like that, or, I know that we're trying to put some security in and keep people from doing it as a preventive measure, but what are we doing about when people are still going to do it? Because they will still do it. That's where I'm going. I want to see repercussions of some kind.
Yeah,
Everything within the law that we can do to protect our facility.
Students could be held accountable, sure, for all those kind of things. The trick is catching them. And that's where we're trying to be proactive with it. But I don't, whether it's, having the police, come and, press charges for something like that, but you would have the police come and certainly give them a talking to. And you can, I believe, under the uniform code, probably could behavior after school is on school property would be, I would think fair game for something like that. You just have to, the problem is we don't have any means really to catch them right now. But if you do, yes, and it'd be a conversation we can reinforce, particularly after a period of time when you may not have that security.
No, I know, but we're putting in the security now to effectuate a change, okay, that they don't do it. But fine, we're going to spend the money on the security. All right, now we catch somebody, and we catch the same person again, and we catch the same person again. Okay? You could have all the security in the world, unless you do something when you catch them, why even have any security? So I want to hear something that we're protecting our property.
Mhm.
Okay? And
Yeah.
what that something is, you guys could decide.
I think you've identified what it is. Yeah,
Progressive discipline.
progressive discipline could apply to that. And another thing that we're looking at is see if we can feel better by, having proportional events to 4 feet tall, raised, and prohibiting and putting a turnstile so lights can't get in. If we can do that, then it's a more cost-effective way of deterring. But if you still had someone vandalizing, or you still had someone abusing, yeah, you can take legal action, you can take progressive discipline, you just have to catch them. Agreed. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. We didn't think about it since you brought it up last time.
Thank you, Vito. Anyone else? Cheryl? Sorry, you're my blind spot. No? All right. All right, well, do not think we need to call for executive session. So do I have a motion to adjourn? Vito? Cheryl, would you like to second? All right, well, thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful evening.